Alright guys, welcome back to another session of Patrick Rants for no apparent reason. No, I'm on my way home actually again. I mentioned in my log that I have my youngest sister's high school graduation tomorrow, and I figured this would be a perfect time for me to record a vlog because there's been a lot of stuff on my mind for the past week that I think people could really benefit from hearing, so I'm going to ramble a little bit. First I'll talk about how this week's workouts went. Before the conference started, before Wednesday, they were great. After that, not so much. Or Thursday, excuse me. But anyway, not so much. Obviously, if you've been following my journal at all, the last couple of workouts, actually the last workout I did, which was the one after the debauchery that occurred during the conference, was complete garbage, in my opinion. Some people would argue otherwise, but you know what? It was rubbish. I mean, it was probably the worst workout I've had in a long time. To the point, it was such a bad workout to the point where I was frustrated enough to almost leave the gym, and I have never even contemplated quitting a workout early. So, and I'll tell you how bad I felt about it. And that actually brings me to really what I wanted to talk about today. If you can't hear me all that well, I'm sorry. I'm in the car, and my car is kind of a piece of rubbish when it comes to being quiet. But anyway, so I wanted to talk about mental fortitude and what it takes to be good at something and to be the best at something. I've had a lot of opportunity this week to consider the necessary sort of mentality that it takes to succeed and to be successful, not just to succeed at something, one different thing, but an overall successful state. And it started with the conference, actually, with the science side of it. And I was talking to a professor there who has actually written a book about how to be successful in college. And a really great guy, very down to earth. I know him very well, actually. He's a professor at Middle Tennessee State, where I did my master's. And we got to talking about the mental preparation it takes and the actual sort of mentality it takes to be successful in science, and that directly carries over to anything you want to be successful at. And he basically said that what it takes to be successful is not allowing things to happen as they will. You have to be able to go and make things happen as you want them to happen. I'm reminded of that really famous, I shouldn't say really famous, but the very popular story that's used for motivational background sort of material for a lot of motivational videos. And it's basically the story of Socrates, and it involves a guru and a guy that comes to the guru talking about wanting to be successful. And the guru takes him out in the ocean and basically dumps him underwater and half drowns him. He says, when you want to be as successful as you want it to breathe, then you'll be successful. And that really speaks a lot of volume to the mentality it takes to being truly successful. If you want something bad enough, it becomes your entire focus. You almost have tunnel vision. If you truly want something, then you need to have the mentality of there's nothing you won't do to get it. And a lot of times that requires a strong will to persevere through tough times. I'm notorious for pissing and moaning about bad times. If you don't believe me, take a look at vast stretch of my log where I just piss and moan about something to do with girl issues or lifting issues or whatever. So I'm notorious for that. But at the same time, I'm willing to push through that difficult times in order to see the benefit that comes at the end. So, and part of the reason I rant in my log a lot on these videos actually is because, sorry for the glare guys, something behind me, but is because the support system that I would normally use to express my feelings of frustration behind these things is not there at school. I don't have anybody I can go to and say, this sucks. So I'm forced to practically talk to myself in order to really vent that frustration. And so this really came to fruition, I guess you would call it, when I got to that workout Saturday afternoon. You know, I'd had 2 straight days of nothing but sitting in a room listening to science, and both of those nights involved drinking beer, a good bit of beer actually, and smoking cigars. Now, granted, I'm not a big smoker, so 2 cigars in 2 nights is unheard of. One was to celebrate the birth of my advisor's granddaughter. That I'm totally okay with smoking 2 cigars. If that's how we want to celebrate the good times, then I'll celebrate, because I'll be honest, I enjoyed that time. I very much enjoyed the beer social and the cigar social aspect of that conference, and I always do. You know, that's how every conference has been that I've been to. It's always alcohol and socializing, and that's when you get your majority of networking done. But at the same time, I paid the price for enjoying myself, because I did not have the focus I needed, and I wasn't physically fortified to go in and work out like I tried to do Saturday. Switch hands, the sun's right in my freaking back of my head. Anyway, so that being said, I went in Saturday. Stupid sun. Went in Saturday with the idea that I was going to go in and max out on snatch. Was it smart to think that? Hell no. No. To expect myself to be in a prepared state to max out the hardest lift that I do all week long after 2 days of drinking and smoking and doing nothing but sitting around and eating shitty food, that was just not happening. But I still went in there, and I was still committed to doing it because I told myself that I was going to at least try. And so I went in there, and actually my warm-up sets felt relatively solid. But past the warm-up sets, for some odd reason, I just could not hit a lift to save my life. I made it all the way through my warm-up sets, got to my current max, and missed it 8 different times. 6 of those were behind the back, meaning I was over-pulling and just could not lock it out at the top. I even dropped the bar on my back once. So what did I do? I said, fine, it's not going to be one of those days, so I dropped the weight back again to a weight that in warm-up I hit actually quite easy for a single. I was going to do a few sets of singles on that. And, you know, the first attempt at that single, my elbows gave out and the bar came down again on my back. So it was after that I figured, you know, today's just not going to be a snatch day. So I moved on to clean and jerk. Same story. Got through my warm-up sets, actually relatively easy, but the fatigue that my arms had going into it from the snatch kept me from having a good lockout on the jerk. So, moral of the story is, shitty workout. And I learned something about myself that day, about my commitment to working as hard as I possibly can. And basically what it entailed is I was so bullheaded. I mean, I literally got so frustrated at myself during the snatch portion of that workout that I dropped the weight, jumped up over the bar, and headbutted the whiteboard behind the lifting platform, which they use to log workouts for the CrossFit people. So, needless to say, I was extremely, extremely frustrated. And to be honest, from a physically fortifying status, from a point of view of physical sort of, I guess, preventative standpoint, I don't know how to put this, but basically, physically, I probably should have quit there. I should have taken the cue from my body, went home, ate something, and just chilled for the rest of the day. But if every person who wanted to be successful did that, if they took a sign that something wasn't going right, and they went home and didn't at least try to salvage what was left of that, there would not be a single successful person in this world. And I realized that about halfway through those clean and jerk attempts. And I at that point, I stopped getting angry. I stopped getting angry and not being able to lift weight, and I just did it. I just did what I could. You know, it doesn't mean I didn't push as hard. It didn't mean that I wasn't trying as hard. It just meant that when things did not go well with a lift, I didn't get angry about it. I knew that there was something I had to do. I had to put myself through that threshold, if you will, through that gauntlet is what I like to think of. Because if you don't have the mental capacity, the mental strength to push through times like that when you really want to quit, when you're so frustrated with yourself you want to cry, if you don't have the mental fortitude to do that, then you'll get somewhere, but you'll never be at your maximum potential. And to be honest, posting this vlog in a contest prep section on bodybuilding.com is like an act of futility. It's like preaching to the choir. Because as bodybuilders, as competitive bodybuilders, everyone who watches this video will probably at least understand in some way, shape, or form what I'm talking about. If you've ever been on a strict diet, if you've ever tried to really max out your PRs or anything like that, as a competitive bodybuilder, you know exactly what it takes. Because we, as the contest prep individuals, and I'm not saying just us are like this, but the fact that people in this section have committed themselves to contest preparation, to pushing themselves to the point of competing on a stage and putting everything they have worked towards out there for people to judge, that alone takes mental strength, just like pushing through those tough times. And so they all understand what it takes to push through those tough times. So I think this would be more beneficial to putting out there for people in like the nutrition section who are worried about, you know, is my bulking diet right, or is my cutting diet right? The only way you're going to know, or I mean, even in the fat loss section, you know, the only way you're going to know if something works is if you try it and it fails, or try it and it succeeds. You know, people can give you advice all day long, and if you don't try it, then it's not going to work anyway. So, and the key to that is when you try it, and if it doesn't work, you either push through it, you have to push beyond the not working point. You have to have that mental fortitude I've been ranting on for 12 minutes now, to push through something that doesn't work, and move on and find something that does. And if you can't push through until you find what works, you're never going to succeed. So, yes, that's about all I had to rant about. And you know what? This is not just to do with bodybuilding. This is not just to do with academics. This applies to every point in your entire life. You can apply this to relationships. You can apply this to financial status. You can apply this to practically anything. You can apply this to getting off your ass and turning on the TV without a remote. Anything. If you're not willing to put forth the effort, if you don't have the strength, the willpower to put forth the effort, then in the end you're not going to maximize your potential. So, with that, I think I'm going to shut up. So, look for another vlog sometime soon. Actually, really quickly, I want to briefly mention what my plan is for this week. And yes, I was just driving without hands. Basically, my plan this week, I'm going home. I'm not really going to keep an eye too much on nutrition. I'm basically going to hit my pre-workout numbers and my post-workout numbers and let the rest of the day go as it goes. Odds are I'm going to be short by like 500 calories because I tend to undereat when I don't count. Seriously. But honestly, it's not a big deal. I'm going to hit workouts. You'll see logs. I don't have access to the internet, so that'll be all good. But don't expect any big nutritional updates because that's my plan this week. I'm not really going to stress over it because honestly, there's no point in stressing over it. So I'm going to go home, lift heavy, eat however happens. You know, be that under calories, over calories, is whatever. Probably going to be under calories. And then when I get back to school, it's lockdown time. New split will be coming out. I've actually been working through that for the past 2 days. It's not going to be anything special. It's going to be very similar to what I had before, but a little bit less volume, higher intensity, and hopefully that'll keep me out of that nice little training stage. So with that, I'll save any more updates till later. Just remember, guys, you have to have the mental strength. You have to be able to be willing to push forward through those tough times. And if you can't, then it's almost like you didn't even try. So until later, take it easy.